Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyashtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspada Ana Srunvannuti Bhiksi Dasadanam Om Shri Mahaganadhipataye Namah Om Vrishabham Charshaninam Vishwarupamadabhyam Brahaspatim Varenyam Om Tadvishno Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayah Divi Vachakshuratatam Om Shlim Dhim Jyotirbrahmaya Namah. Can everybody say Hare Ramakrishna 3 times? Om Hare Ramakrishna Hare Ramakrishna Hare Ramakrishna. Back up Pandi. Okay. The record అవుతోందండి. It is getting recorded. Red light is off now. I think I need to press this. Are you sure? Maybe we pressed it. One of us turned it off. Yeah. Now it's okay. Okay. So where are we?
We are doing Drishdasha.
Okay. Do we have any more examples to see on Drishdasha? Do you guys have any charts to see?
All done, I think.
Okay. You have any chart that you are interested in seeing using Drishdasha, or shall we end this? Yeah, I forgot to get the chart. I forgot to get the chart that I wanted to see. Do you guys have any charts?
Some of your examples which we didn't cover.
I think we covered enough examples. That's fine. Unless you have any specific example that you want to see. Okay. Yeah. Well, the summary is not exactly like that. The summary is, look at the Drishdasha and take the 5th house from the Drishdasha sign. That is the progress Lagna. Because Drishdasha is the progression of the 9th house. Just like in Narayan Dasha, if Narayan Dasha is the progression of the 7th house, we take the 7th from Dasha sign as the Lagna. Similarly, take the 5th from the Dasha sign as the progress Lagna. Taking that as the Lagna, see what are the influences. If there are strong influences in the 10th house, there may be a lot of karma, there may be a lot of activities relating to spiritual life. If there are a lot of planets in the 8th house or important yogas involving the 8th house, there may be a lot of sadhana or there may be a lot of mystical experiences. Like that, look at the whole chart, taking the Lagna, taking the Dasha Lagna, the 5th house from the Dasha sign as Lagna, in the natal chart as well as Dasha Pravesh Chakra, and whatever are the common themes, those results are very likely. And in several charts we have seen when the 12th house was very dominant, when it had several planets or had very powerful yoga, those persons basically became sannyasis in that period. Of course, it may not hold for all of you. In your chart there may be 3 planets, and when the Dasha Lagna comes in the 12th from those, 2nd from those planets, you may not become a sannyasi because you are not meant to become one. But if somebody is meant to become a sannyasi, that is a very powerful time when that is likely. And we have seen 3 examples, Jnana Saraswati, Chandrasekhara Saraswati, and then Swami Shivananda. In all whose cases, a strong 12th house basically made them sannyasis during the period, made them renounce. So like that, look at the chart, taking that as Lagna, and then see what are the indications. Who to pray, how to pray, all those things are not really seen from Drishdasha. Those you judge from the natal chart. If the Ishtadevata in the Navamsa, if you see the 12th from Atmakaraka in Navamsa, if you see, for example, Sun and Jupiter, you may say pray to Shiva. If you see, all those standard formulas that we use normally, so all those are basically unmodified. But what this tells you is, this is the period when there is a lot of sadhana. This is the period when there is lot of activities. This is the period when there is lot of mantra japa, there is lot of bhakti and lot of mantra japa. That is basically what you can say. And another thing I mentioned earlier is looking at the signs and the planets involved with the yogas that are indicating sadhana. You can say whether there is bhakti marga is more likely during the period, or karma marga, karma yoga. Somebody may follow various paths during the course of life, but during a particular period somebody may not be doing lot of mantras but simply serving everybody sincerely, or serving in other people's spiritual pursuits, serving in organizing functions, spiritual functions, etc., serving in organizing homas, yajnas, etc. That may be somebody's spiritual path during a particular dasha. So that kind of things, I said, you can look for houses, signs and planets. I said that the fifth house basically shows the devotion and bhakti, and the sixth house shows the service, and the eighth house shows serious sadhana. And as far as the planets are concerned, I said that Saturn, Rahu, these planets show Raja Yoga, basically pranayama, that kind of techniques. And Mercury is Prithvi Tattva, so he is Karma Yoga. So he shows, Mercury shows Karma Yoga, and Agni Tattva planets show Gnana Yoga. Sun and Mars, they show Gnana Yoga. And I said that Moon and Venus, the Jala Tattva planets, show Bhakti, because Bhakti is a very watery process. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
But next dasha I see that the 10th is not strong, and I want to continue the same path.
Yeah, you can continue.
So in that case, we have to strengthen the 10th house of the dasha.
Forget about strengthening. Do whatever comes naturally to you. But if the 10th house becomes weak and something else becomes strong, maybe there will be a change.
That's what it's telling.
That is what the chart is telling. Whether it happens or not, wait and see. Maybe it will take a year for the transformation to occur, but maybe you will become interested in something else when the next dasha comes. So don't worry too much about, no, I want to do this, how do I force this? Don't worry about it. Do whatever feels natural, whatever comes to you naturally. And if the time for karma is over, if the time for vairagya has started, one will get vairagya during that period. One will go in a different path.
So always is forward direction.
Yeah. See, the thing is, if you are doing X and you stop doing X and start doing Y, it doesn't mean you went forward or backward. There is no forward or backward. There is forward and backward, but it doesn't depend on exactly what you are doing. It's not like Karma Yoga is inferior to Gnana Yoga or Gnana Yoga is inferior to Bhakti Yoga. There is no order of any kind between various paths.
It's actually a combination of all these four yogas, four paths.
Yes, you can either achieve through any one path, or more likely in Kali Yuga, achieving perfection in one path is very difficult. So a combination of different paths is probably was going to make you achieve in Kali Yuga. And the thing is, there is no specific order in which they should come. It depends on the person. For somebody, the vichara may start earlier, the gnana may start earlier. He may read books, Upanishads, and ponder about the meaning of them, and then slowly he may start serving people. He may start seeing God in everybody and start serving them. For somebody else, he may just start blindly helping people without thinking anything, and slowly the gnana may rise in the person. So like that, the exact order differs from person to person. Bottom line is, what you are doing is not the important thing in deciding how much progress you have made. How you are doing, what attitude you are doing. For example, I may go to a big homam, I may be helping the organizers at the temple. When I am doing a big homam, a big Sudarshan homam or something, I may go and help them, but I may be doing it egoistically. I may think, oh, what a nice person I am. I am helping these people do some nice work. I am doing so much punya. So I may be doing with that attitude. Or I may not be thinking anything. I may be just offering myself unconditionally without really consciously analyzing what I am doing. So that means I have made more progress. Similarly, I may be in Bhakti Marga, I may be doing a particular mantra of a particular god 1000 times every day. Or after a few years I may make enough progress, I may not be doing 1000 times, I may be doing only 400 times, but still I may be doing with such dedication, such devotion that I am all the time I am almost on the verge of crying because I am not able to see the God. So if that intensity of emotion is inside, I have made progress. You understand what I am saying? Like that, in every path there is a measure of the progress, which is totally internal. People looking at you or listening to the words that you are speaking cannot really judge how much progress you have made. It is basically within you. You yourself are the judge of how much progress you have made. But the bottom line is, there is a progress to be made in each path. So it's not like he changed from Jnana Yoga to Bhakti Yoga, so he went back or went forward. Irrespective of which path he is in, based on the attitude, you can judge how much progress one has made. This is recording, yes. Why?
I thought the light should be flashing or red one. It doesn't come on.
I have no idea what's supposed to happen, but these two green lights are solidly green,
Okay.
and these lines are moving,
Okay, that's
which means it's thinking that I'm saying something. Maybe it's not able to understand. Okay, any other questions? Actually, one interesting exercise would be to find the chart of somebody spiritual, some spiritual person like some Swamiji or some yogi or somebody, and based on the events that you know, analyze the chart. People like Sansekar Saraswati Swamigal, Jain Saraswati Swamigal, Swami Shivananda, certain examples I have done in the class. Ramakrishna Paramhansa, maybe Vivekananda. The ones that I haven't done, there are obviously so many charts that you can find. So try to hunt for some charts. So everybody try to find one chart, or maybe all together also is fine. So try to find one example of a spiritual person, somebody of some stature, spiritual stature, and track the events in life using Durgasa. That will be an interesting exercise. Okay. Pardon me? Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Data? August 11, 1926. Oops, what did I do? Yeah? 6 p.m. Oops. 6 p.m. Oops. Okay. Place? I think I am. Oh, I typed 2 instead of 1. Yeah. Bapatla. Bapatla, India. Okay. What is the name? I think I heard the name. Ekirala. Ekirala Krishna. Okay, Master. EK. Okay. Shall I save it in this directory or some other directory?
No, I mean, there is a study examples are there. That's what the class examples.
Okay, that's fine. I wanted to follow your procedure. That is why I asked you. Okay. So the data is 1926, August 11, 6 p.m. Bapatla, India. In time zone is 5 hours 30 minutes east of GMT IST, and the place is Bapatla, India, which is 80 degrees 28 minutes east, 15 degrees 54 minutes north. Okay. So the person has debilitated Jupiter in Lagna, but he is retrograde, so gives results as though he is exalted. So he has a Jupiter's blessings on Lagna, and the Rasi Lagna is safe. So this is basically a very non-precise kind of dasha. So as long as Rajdasha is fixed, we are happy, because this is only general guideline. Okay, but the thing is, as long as the time is accurate within 45 minutes, we are all set. Because this is not precise, like you don't need the Navamsa, Vinshamsa, etc. to be accurate. Just some generic phases in life, in spiritual life. So they are not sensitive to all the exact time, all the divisional lagnas. Yeah? Yeah. Try to find the exact events. Okay, but do you know at least what kind of events were there? Okay. Very learned person. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the name sounds familiar. Mm-hmm. Okay. Huh? What? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you are saying that the fact that Bhatakarka is in the 8th house, so that is why he is seeing his Guru in his meditation. So I think he is seeing in, because 8th house is meditation, you are saying 8th house is BK. That is a little far-fetched, maybe true, but a little far-fetched. The bottom line is, see, the thing is, we have a tendency to take detailed readings and map them to astrological factors, but the more detailed and more precise you become, it becomes a futile exercise. It's not replicable, basically. You understand what I mean?
It may match this chart, but
it may match this chart, but it may not match. For example, once Sanjayji was explaining in one of his books why a particular lady was Miss Universe, another was Miss World, and he says Jupiter is the Karaka for universe. I'm not sure who is the Karaka for world, but universe is basically a very generic term. So Jupiter is Karaka, and in her case Jupiter was the planet giving fame, so she was Miss Universe instead of Miss World. The thing is, that kind of logic sounds nice when you hear it, but you can't really replicate it in a lot of charts. It's just far-fetched. So like that, sometimes we read too much into things. That is an unhealthy tendency that we should stay away from. The bottom line is, forget seeing Guru in meditation, etc. There are forgetting the exact detail. There are two generic things that you can say about that. One is, he has strong meditation, basically, some mystical experiences, some special experiences during the meditation. So strong meditation experience, that is one thing. And the second thing is, he has blessings of Guru, obviously. Not everybody sees his Guru. Forget meditation. Not everybody basically has a vision of Guru even now and then, when the Guru is not nearby. So he has the blessings of Guru. And how will you see the blessings of Guru? And we are not talking about blessings in the sense Guru came and blessed, may you be happy, and then suddenly he won a lottery and he got $1 million. This is basically blessings not at a material level, but blessings in the spiritual pursuit of the person, right? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so the thing is, spiritually speaking, he has excellent blessings of Guru. How will you see the spiritual blessings of Guru? What is a good guideline to see that? Who shows Guru in the chart? If you are talking about souls, at the soul level connection, Bhratrakaraka. And who is the self? Atmakaraka. So you have to see the relation between them, right? So if you see the relation between them, they are in mutual Sasthashkas, right? They are friends, but they are in mutual Sasthashkas. Then why are there such great blessings from Guru? Should we see that relation in Rashi or Navamsa? D20 also, but forget D20. Can we see in Navamsa? Because Navamsa is the start of dharma and the guidance from gods, all the reaping the Purva Punya, reaping the benefits of previous good deeds. So, if a particular soul comes and blesses you, if a particular soul cooperates with you a lot, you should be able to see it in Navamsa, right? Just like Lakshmi blessing you because Venus is in so and so house from Atmakaraka. Just like that, a particular soul cooperated so much with his activities, with his dharmic activities. So obviously Navamsa is the chart. When you are looking at, similarly, if you look at Atmakaraka, Dharkaraka relationship, to see whether there is an inherent soul level compatibility between the companion and the person. By companion I mean wife and also other companions, other business partners, etc. For that you see Dharkaraka, Atmakaraka relation in Navamsa. Similarly here, who is the Dharkaraka, who is the Atmakaraka? Jupiter. He is in Virgo Navamsa, and Moon is the Bhratakaraka, like we said earlier. He is in Jupiter's own house. There is a parivartana between Mercury and Jupiter, so it's almost as though Jupiter is actually there. Even otherwise, they are in mutual kendras, cooperating with each other. In general, mutual kendra relation between the two grahas is very important, between any two souls. And the planets happen to be Moon and Jupiter, good friends. Moreover, their being in mutual kendras is a yoga called Gadgesri Yoga, which gives fame. So it's very auspicious. And moreover, like she said, there is a parivartana. So it's almost as though Moon and Jupiter are together in Sagittarius. It is very powerful. Yeah, it is even more powerful Gadgesri Yoga than Jupiter being in Virgo, which is also Gadgesri Yoga. So it is very, very powerful. And what about the followers? Does he have the support of followers? How do you see followers? Fifth house. Now forget fifth house. Now we are talking about soul level cooperation from followers. Putrakaraka is the followers, the souls that follow you. And where is he? He is actually with Atmakaraka. So Atmakaraka, Bhratakaraka, Putrakaraka, they are all linked in mutual kendra. So he has a lot of faithful followers also. On the other hand, if Putrakaraka and Atmakaraka had a bad relation, there would be at least some followers because of whom there would be some trouble for the person. Okay. And actually the thing is, we can look at Vimshamsa, but the thing is, we are not sure if the data is accurate. So let us leave Vimshamsa. Let us just stick to Rasi and look at the Drigdasha and see which periods of time is very interesting. Is there any specific dasha that pops out at you? Any specific dasha? Any dasha? For me? Which dasha? Cancer dasha? Do you have the latest software or are you using the old software? Yeah, like facial aspect. I have to remember him at least once. Whether he is here or not. I know. He told me. Should I say remind me later?
Yeah, just.
He'll remind you later. Yeah? So Leo and Taurus, what about them? So in Libra he left his job. Okay. In 84. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll see. But the thing is, the fact that he left his job is also an interesting thing, right? Oh, you are not sure. Okay. But the thing is, How are the Sagittarius, Libra and Leo dashas? See, the thing is, one rule that we mentioned earlier, for Guru's blessings to come to the person, the association of the Bhratrakarka or the ninth lord from Lagna or Jupiter with the Durgasa sign itself, not the progress Lagna, because Durgasa is the progress ninth house. That is an important indicator. So here, if you look at Sagittarius, it doesn't really have a strong. It has Ketu, but it doesn't have a strong ninth house or Bhratrakarka influence. On the other hand, if you look at Libra and Leo, both Libra and Leo, they have a strong influence of Bhratrakarka. Leo contains Bhratrakarka itself, whereas Libra is aspected by him and has exalted Saturn. So the thing is, these two dashas are very interesting dashas. Especially in my judgment, Leo is a very powerful dasha. Why? Why do I say that? It's a very powerful dasha. Even though he said that the peak came in the next dasha, this dasha seems extremely interesting. A transformational dasha, because for me, no, not 12th house. You don't take from Leo. You take the 5th house from there. 5th house from Leo, Sagittarius. That is the progress Lagna. So progress Lagna has exalted Ketu. That too, the 12th lord. The Karaka of 12th and the lord of 12th Ketu is exalted in Lagna. So the spirituality becomes very pronounced. The spiritual aspect of the life becomes really accentuated. And Lagna Lord Jupiter is in the second house of speech, so he may have given a lot of lectures, etc. But apart from it, there is a Venus Rahu Ketu axis on Lagna. And Mercury and Sun, the 9th and 10th lords, are together in the 8th house. The 9th and 10th lords are together in the 8th house. So there is a Dharma Karmadhipati Yoga, right? The 10th lord Mercury and 9th lord, and also 7th lord Mercury and 9th lord Sun, together in the 8th house. 8th house of working hard. So the thing is, the person may have actually done a lot of dharmic activities during that period, but which results in a lot of hard work for the person. And the 7th lord Mercury is in the 8th house. 7th lord in the 8th house is a Maraka combination. And whenever that combination is there from the progress Lagna in Durgasha, it actually results in some mystical experiences. If the 8th house is either strong or has Rahu Ketu, or it has a Maraka showing some kind of death, then there are mystical experiences during that period. So it is quite likely that this Leo Dasha, and also Leo contains Bhratrakarka. So being very close to the Guru, or being strongly guided by Guru, having a strong influence of a soul, of Guru at the soul level, is very likely during that Dasha. So this is a very important Dasha in his life. This is the transformational Dasha. And how about how is actually the Dasha Pravesh Chakra? Taking Sagittarius as Lagna here, the Lagna Lord Jupiter is in the 10th house. Good, that is good for spiritual dharma, spiritual karma. And the 10th Lord Mercury is in the 9th house, Ketu. So that is also good for, see, 10th Lord was with 9th Lord in the natal chart, he is in the 9th house in this chart. So either way 10th and 9th are being linked. So he is engaged in a lot of spiritual and dharmic karma. Okay? And in addition, the 8th house is very strong here also. There is an Amavasya Yoga in the 8th house. Sun and Moon are together in the 8th house. And in the other chart, there were 7th Lord was in the 8th house. So the fact that 7th Lord is in the 8th house in natal chart, 8th Lord is in the 8th house in this chart, means there are strong mystical experiences during this time. Third house is strong, so very lot of enthusiasm. All those things are there. But 8th, 9th and 10th are really dominant in both the charts. So he does a lot of spiritual karma, lot of dharma, lot of dharmic karma, and also having lot of experiences. So all those things will be there. And how about Taurus, the last dasha of his life? Let's open the dasha pravesha also. So if you take Taurus as Lagna in the natal chart, the 12th house is very strong. It has 12th lord. Pardon, oh sorry. What do we do in Taurus Dasha? You take the 5th house from there, Virgo as Lagna. So if you take Virgo as Lagna, the Lagna Lord Mercury is in the 11th house with the 12th Lord. And the interesting combination is there is Venus and Rahu in the 10th house. The 9th Lord is in the 10th house. Right? And moreover, if you look at the Dasha Pravesh Chakra, Lagna has Rahu Ketu axis, Lagna Lord is in the 12th house. See here Lagna Lord is in the 12th house, Dasha Pravesh Chakra, and natal chart Lagna Lord is not in the 12th house but he is with 12th Lord. So both the charts, Lagna Lord shows what you are interested in, your attitude. He is linked with the 12th house. So the person is actually interested in moksha, liberation, vairagya, giving up, etc. So that is one thing. But the other thing is the 10th house is extremely strong in both the charts. Having 3 benefics, or if you don't consider moon to be a benefic, still having Jupiter and Venus in the 10th house is definitely a blessing. That's a Rajoga actually, 7th, 9th and 11th lords in the 10th house. It's a very powerful Rajoga. So the fact that 9th house is so strong, 10th house is so strong, containing the 9th lord of Dharma and Jupiter, that happens in the natal chart also. 10th house is strong with the 9th lord. So he is actually, even though he is interested in being liberated, interested in his own moksha, he must have done a lot of activities during that time, lot of big activities, because of the nature of the planets there. Big things, basically establishing something or organizing big events like big yajnas, some activities like that are very, very likely. So this is a very fruitful period from the point of view of activities and actions.
So why did he pass away?
Oh, you can't see it in Drupasa. You can't see that in Drupasa. If you want to see why he passed away in that period, look at Suradasha.
Yeah.
Drupasa doesn't really show why somebody passed away. Okay. I look at the Suradasha and other dasas, but that's not the topic, so we'll just leave it. Any other comments? Yeah. Whether they come late or not, we can't say definitively, but we say that the planet is basically, the planet is representing some strong desire from the past life. That is what we normally say, right? So there is a strong agenda, very powerful agenda. The planet is more emotional about that agenda, more attached to the agenda. Well, the planet in Lagna shows the basic nature of the person, and there a Jupiter whose retrograde shows there is a dharmic nature. Jupiter's nature is to spread dharma in the world, and that desire is very strong, basically. Something that is left over from the past life, something that he wanted to do but could not do fully in the last life. So there is a sense of urgency and a sense of attachment as far as that planet is concerned to that agenda. That's all it means. Well, it means the person is dharmic, and the person's dharmic, there is a strong sense of dharma in the person, basically. The nature is strengthened, basically. The result shown by that planet on the house that it occupies is basically strengthened. And like I said, it's actually tough to explain, but like I said, the planet is attached to that result, which means there is intolerance of adharma, basically. Planet is so keen on increasing dharma, Jupiter is so keen on increasing dharma, that if there is some adharma, there may be some level of intolerance to it. Like it may be like, oh my God, I have this strong agenda. I want to do this. It's like I want to make I want to make a big house with the pack of cards. I'm arranging the cards and making a big house. I may be casually doing it. If somebody comes and because of the wind it falls, I may do it again. Or if I tried it 100 times and I'm trying for the 101st time, I definitely want to succeed. I don't want to fail. So if somebody comes nearby, I say, don't come, because of the wind. Pardon me? There is some tension. The retrogression is basically shows that chastabala, it shows that extra hesitation. So there is certain hesitation to the planet, which borders on intolerance to anybody who disturbs the agenda of the planet. So if somebody disturbs the result that Jupiter wants to give, which is being in Lagna, he wants to give intelligence and dharma, strong sense of dharma, right and wrong. So if there is any disturbance to it, Jupiter is not at all going to cooperate. So that's actually something you can use when you are judging dashas, antardashas, etc. But there is a strong agenda. That is basically what you can say.
So retrogression is
retrogression is a strong desire carried from the past life. It is very akin to my analogy. Somebody is building this stack of cards, he failed 100 times, or maybe did not fail but did not succeed fully. So this is the 101st attempt, so he is very keen to do it right this time. He takes maximum precaution that he can so that he doesn't fail. So that is why planets in retrogression have a chastabala, which basically means the force of agitation, the force of movement. They have a strong momentum basically.
So some chart, I've seen a chart which has a 4 planets and retrogression.
Yeah.
What is it that's telling me that because of?
Not really much, except that there are a lot of agendas, lot of unfulfilled agendas. Lot of conflicting agendas can also be there. If there is one planet or 2 planets in retrogression, it's easier. There are too many planets. Here Jupiter and Mercury are the retrograde planets. Jupiter is the Karka of Dharma, Mercury is the 9th Lord. So there is a strong desire to actually do some dharmic work. So it's easier to find the common theme. Whereas if there are 4 planets, it may be difficult to find the common theme, and also there may be tension between different agendas also. There may be strong agendas from different lives. So for example, I may want to make this house with the pack of cards, and my wife may be waiting for a long time to play cards, and she is tense. I want to play cards, get over with it. There is some tension between the two. Yeah. I mean, you can't say based on that. You can't say based on whether the planet is retrograde or not. In my judgment, there are 2 orthogonal factors. Retrogression and combustion are 2 orthogonal factors. But the thing is, there are some theories on in direct motion in retrogression, can be retrograde, cannot be retrograde. There are some theories that Sanjay ji advances. But the thing is, it is worthwhile mentioning that there is no Shastra Pramana for it. It's not really based on any Shastras. There are classes that dwell in detail on combustion. They don't mention anything about retrogression and direct motion. They only talk about the distance with sun. Whether you are going back or going forward, whatever your agenda is, if you are near the sun, near the bright sun, you are burnt by him. You pale in front of him. That is what it means. I don't recall off the top of my head, but the thing is, approximately you can take 7-8 degrees, but the exact degrees depend on the planet. For each planet there is a different orb that is given in the classics. Maybe I can dig for the next class and get the numbers. Unfortunately, I didn't memorize the numbers. Pardon me? Yeah?
I've seen a chart where Venus or somewhere in Pisces.
Yeah?
And it's pretty close.
Okay.
Venus is a particular somewhere on the glass. So this particular lady has Angavai
Has what?
the polio handicap.
Handicap, yeah.
I was just thinking, since the sun is in friendly house and Venus is exalted, so Venus is also
Well, that's an interesting question. Sun is in a friendly house, but Venus is exalted. and he is a functional malefic. Sun is a functional benefic and Venus is a functional malefic. And where is Jupiter?
Jupiter in second house.
Jupiter is debilitated. Jupiter is, I got the Sagittarius Lagna because it said Sun is the ninth lord. You are saying it at the end. If you are studied at the beginning so that I don't spend my brain energy finding the Lagna. Well, it's not really a big deal. So Lagna Lord is not very strong. Lagna Lord is in a Saturnine sign. Pardon me?
Jupiter is
Yeah, so Lagna Lord is weak. He is in a Saturnine house.
But is retrograde means he's in exalted, right?
Is he retrograde? Oh, he is
retrograde.
okay. He is retrograde and debilitated. Okay, fine. So so Jupiter is strong, but the thing is now Sun and Jupiter, Sun and Venus. Sun and Venus are having Arvala and the Arul Lagna and also Lagna, and Venus is exalted. Do you remember the degrees of Venus? Is he close to a deep exaltation or far away from it? Which nakshatra is he in at least? For me? Bharani? Revati.
Venus.
Okay. So the thing is, depending on the nakshatra they are in, and also the thing is, if you have the chart, we can actually look at it now. You should also look at the Navamsa and the Trimshamsa in this case, because Sun wants to protect. Sun's agenda is, well, he did some dharma, protect him. And Venus' agenda is, no, trouble him, give him weaknesses and make him vulnerable, make him susceptible. So that is Venus' agenda. So there is a big clash. Both have their own strengths. Sun is strong because he is in friend's house, and friend is having Agla on him, and friend is reasonably strong. And Venus is strong because it is party house, it is exaltation house. So both are strong, and they have totally opposite agendas, right? So the thing is, and where is Saturn? Saturn is the Karaka of Rogas. Jupiter is the Karaka of, he is the Lagna Lord here, and depends on where Saturn is, whether he is aspecting them, he has Agla on them. So okay, that is also another factor. But more importantly, if Sun is blessed in the Navamsa, if he is with, let's say, Jupiter or with the Lagna Lord, or if he otherwise is strong in the Navamsa, his ability to protect becomes strengthened. On the other hand, if Venus is either weakly placed or joining other afflicting planets in the Trimshamsa, which is the vulnerability of the person, then the Venus ability to cause vulnerability to the person in the Rashi chart in the 4th house, that becomes stronger. So which dominates, whether Sun or Venus? You can't just look at the Rashi and make the decision. You may have to look at Navamsa and Trimshamsa also, and then see which one will dominate. Whether the 9th Lord will dominate or the 6th Lord will dominate. It's a tricky question. I can't answer it without looking at further factors. Both are possible in this case. As a matter of fact, even in a straightforward case where, let's say, Sun is in Leo, so suppose, let us say, same Sagittarius Lagna, suppose Sun and Venus are in Leo. Sun is in one house, Venus is in unfriendly house, inimical house, but still Venus may end up dominating and causing trouble, causing bone problems for the person. It depends on who is cooperating with him in the Trimshamsa and how strong Sun is in the Navamsa and other charts. So based on the sign occupied and the relative strengths, you can draw some conclusions, but you cannot draw them very confidently. You have to look at other factors also. That is why other factors are there. That is the holistic approach, basically. Any other questions, comments?
No, because this combustion
Okay. Okay. Yeah, they have an influence on the person, on the nature of the person. Yes. Saturnine qualities are feeding the nature of the person. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then the thing is, the nature that Saturn wanted to promote, that nature will not come about. That's it. You can't say that the nature of the other planet will basically dominate. The The purpose of Virodhargala is not to have an intervention in the matter. It is to cancel a particular intervention. Argala is an intervention. Virodhargala is not an intervention. It is not an intervention in the opposite direction. It is actually opposing the intervention, so that that particular influence is not there on the nature of the person.
So they fully cancel and
Fully cancel meaning if it is strong, if there are let's say 3 planets in the second house and only 1 planet in 12th house, it may not fully cancel. The nature may be influenced by those planets still. But if it is equally strong or even stronger, it is as strong or stronger, the Virodhargala, then it will succeed in nullifying that influence. So that influence will not be there on the nature of the person.
even their friends and
For me?
even the planets or the friends and they different. For example, suppose Venus causing
See, yeah.
so they still cancel.
Yeah, friend doesn't matter here. Argala, in that matter, friend or not friend doesn't matter. Only when you are looking at aspects, etc., then I'm looking at that fruit. I want to go and get that fruit. Somebody else may be looking at it and he may say, oh, you want it? Okay, let's share it. Or if he's my enemy, he may go and snatch it away and say, no, I'm not giving it to you. But the thing is, Argala is a different thing. Looking at something is different. Aspect is something, Argala is different. If you take this example, for example, if you take this example as an illustration, here, Lagna is Capricorn, the chart that we were just looking at, Siman, Kirala, actually, his name appears with this prefix Siman, right? Siman, Kirala. Oh, I think I'm confused with another Ekirala. There is another Ekirala person. Then I see. I think I'm confused. I may not know this person then. So this gentleman, if you look at the Lagna has Jupiter, like we said earlier, which influences his nature, which is intelligent, wise, learned, priestly, respected, etc. In addition, which other Argalas are there? Ketu has an Argala. So what kind of influence would Ketu's Argala cause on the nature of the person? Yeah, spiritual, a little eccentric, little weird or little different. Those are all secondary, but basic nature of Ketu, you can apply that nature and say that is he's exalted Ketu. So very spiritual, and also because he is exalted, very optimistic, positive kind of influence. Very spiritual and optimistic in the outlook. So that is the one. Is it cancelled by any planet? There is no Virodhargala. Is there any other Argala? Mars has the 4th house Argala. What is the nature of Mars? Aggressive, imposing, bold. So that is the nature. So there may be a streak of aggression in his nature. Not like he goes to fight with people, probably not, being a spiritual person. But whatever he says, you do so and so mantra this many times. You go and help them build a temple in your town. Like that, he may have a tendency to be strong, basically, be like a commander, command people, do this. So that tendency may be there in his nature, but it is cancelled by exalted Saturn. Own house Mars, Moola Trikonda Mars, exalted Saturn. It balances out each other. So what does Saturn's nature? What does Saturn show? What kind of nature does he show? Humble, very patient, humble, disciplined. That is the nature. So the thing is, it is actually totally opposite. So this influence tries to cancel the other influence. So that aggressive streak that I mentioned, I will come to that. The aggressive streak that I mentioned is probably seen now and then, because the thing is, both are very strong. It's tough to cancel it completely. Even though technically there is a cancellation, they are actually like equal barriers. So it may be seen occasionally, but mostly it's not there. But it doesn't mean Saturn, the nature shown by Saturn will be there. But here it will be there because he is Lagna Lord. Otherwise, just because he is cancelling the Argala, you wouldn't say because he has Virodhargala on Lagna, his nature will be seen in the nature of the person. Saturn's results will be seen in the nature of the person. You can't say that. But here, Saturn's influence, which is very disciplined, very austere, very humble, that nature, it may be there in the person because it's simply Lagna. Pardon me? Idealistic, traditional, orthodox. Saturn shows orthodox people. Saturn, Jupiter, Ketu, all influencing Lagna definitely shows orthodoxy. So very orthodox. Okay. Any other interesting questions or uninteresting questions? I don't want to put pressure by saying interesting questions. Pardon me? No, that's fine. The thing is, this means that for these 3 years you are learning something. If you ask after 3 years questions or something you learned 3 years back, it is good. At least 3 years later you are learning. The thing is, as you actually look at more charts, do more analysis and wrestle with more real life situations, you will actually come up with more questions. And the thing is, sometimes I give answers as though I know the answer. Sometimes I also don't really know the answer. I am telling you whatever I feel is appropriate. But the thing is, there may not be a perfect answer. There is no perfect answer to certain questions. So the thing is, I also have to learn. All of us have to learn. We just keep learning by questioning and thinking. So go ahead. Third house has more than 2 malefics. Yeah, it has Argala actually. So you are saying it causes Argala and also cancels 11th house Argala. Is that is true? If 11th house, let us say, has Jupiter, or let's say Venus. 11th house has Venus, okay, and the third house has Sun, Mars, and let's say Saturn. Then, according to the Shastras, the 11th house planet Venus has Argala on Lagna, and the third house planets cause Virodha Argala because they dominate. Venus is completely shut down. And in addition, Parashara also says too many malefics in the third house cause Argala, not just Virodha Argala, but Argala. What that means is, the planet in the 11th house tried to 11th house. What is 11th house? Fulfillment of the desire, Labha. So you basically got what you wanted. So Venus tries to give happiness, not just a basic happiness that comes out of finding your direction, finding your bearings. The fourth house is the basic happiness that comes because you found your bearings, you found your direction, you know what to do, you feel comfortable with your agenda or with your path or whatever. But the 11th house is actually the happiness that comes because you feel satisfied, you feel that you got what you wanted. It is getting what you wanted. It is basically the fulfillment of your desires. So it shows it shows a state of happiness. But suppose you wanted to do more, there is initiative inside you to start a new effort. Then you have to start the new effort, you have to nurture the desire, you have to go through the same process and then fulfill your desire. So whatever you achieved is gone. You wanted $1 million, you got $1 million, but then your agenda changed. $1 million is not sufficient. I can't even buy the house that I wanted. So I need $10 million now. So the happiness from having got the $11 million means nothing now. So that no longer has an influence on the Lagna. So the Argala is completely cancelled. In addition, earlier I said Virodha Argala's purpose is only to cancel the Argala, not to result in new nature, not to influence the nature, right? It is only to cancel the other influence on the nature, which is happiness in this particular case, happiness of having achieved what you wanted. So not only you cancel that, but you infuse the nature with this drive to do something new. So this is not only cancelling the other one, but creating new results. Well, if it is malefic, then the Argala according to Parashara happens only if it is malefic. If it is benefic also, there is a desire, there is a new desire. So the previous 11th house may be cancelled. The 11th house Argala is cancelled even by benefic, but there is no special Argala. It doesn't give a new identity. It cancels the other identity. It doesn't form a new identity. Whereas if it is malefic, it is a strong influence. Male fixed in the third give real determination. So then it becomes an argala. Any other questions? Yeah. My Sanjay ji's teaching is, when you find argalas on the house containing Ketu or on the planets in the house containing Ketu, you reckon reverse. Suppose Ketu is in Sagittarius here and you want to see the influences on 12th house. Then Sanjay ji says you count reverse. So Jupiter is not having argala. Saturn is in the 11th house from Ketu here. So if you are looking at argalas on the 12th house, Saturn is not in the 11th house, he is in the 3rd house. Jupiter is not in the 2nd house, but he is in the 12th house, and so on. So this is Sanjay ji's teaching. You understand? So to confuse? Yeah. So when you are finding argalas on the sign containing Ketu, for all argalas on that sign, you use reverse counting. That is Sanjay ji's reckoning. But what I taught earlier and what I believe in, and in my view what Parashara clearly unambiguously taught is, it doesn't matter whether Ketu is in the house that you are on which you are finding argalas. That's not the factor. When you are finding argalas on any house, if Ketu and Rahu are, if you are looking for argalas from Ketu or Rahu, you count in reverse. So suppose I am looking at Sagittarius, argalas on Sagittarius, 12th house here. Jupiter is in the 2nd house. He doesn't suddenly become in the 12th house simply because Ketu is in Sagittarius. It doesn't matter. We are not finding argalas on Ketu. We are actually finding argalas on Sagittarius. On the other hand, if you are finding argalas on Jupiter or Lagna, you don't take Ketu in the 12th house but in the 2nd house, because when Ketu looks at things, he sees, he is counting in reverse. Ketu looks at things in reverse. So for him, this is the 12th house. His 2nd house is Scorpio. He is looking back. So from Ketu's point of view, if he reckons all the houses from him, taking him as reference, I am here, this is myself, that is my 2nd house, that is my resources. So he looks at Scorpio as his resources. And if you keep on counting like that, Capricorn becomes 12th house from Ketu's perspective. Not from, suppose Mercury is with Ketu there. Suppose Mercury is in the same house as Ketu there. From Mercury's perspective, Capricorn is 2nd house only. But from Ketu's perspective, it is from the perspective of Ketu, who is in Sagittarius, Capricorn becomes 12th house. So Ketu thinks, this is where I have to give. This is my house of giving. So he gives to that house. That means Ketu becomes a resource for that house because he is giving to that house. So Ketu becomes an argala causer on that house. So only Rahu and Ketu's thinking is, because they are always looking back, their thinking becomes reversed. So the way they look at things is reversed. So their argalas, when you are reckoning on any house, it is reversed. And planets, other planets along with them, they look normally only. Their argalas work normally. Okay, this is my teaching based on what Parashara taught. And here actually I and Sanjay ji have a difference, and we have never reconciled. We never talked about it actually. So hopefully it will happen in future. There are some places where we have difference which cannot be reconciled. Some places where we had differences which could be reconciled and we came to the same page. This is one of those where we didn't get a chance to debate or discuss or talk it out. Any other questions? I'll just actually restart this quickly. Any other questions, comments? That's fine. We are actually done with Jyothishya for now. I'll get another example in the next class hopefully, but we are done. So you can take any deviation now. You can ask anything about the last 3 years. That is good. That is why you are asking all these questions. That is why you are asking all these questions. That is good. Yeah, sure. The data is? Yeah. One sec. Oh, actually I can use this mouse. I've been struggling with the other mouse until now. Okay. I forgot that there is a nice mouse. Okay. March 6, 1966. 12:30 a.m. That means 0:30. Yeah? Ambernath. AMBARNATH. Ambernath, India. March 6, 1966, 12:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time, 5 hours 30 minutes east of GMT. Ambernath, AMBARNATH, Ambernath, India. 73 degrees 10 minutes east, 19 degrees 12 minutes north. It is somewhere in Rajasthan or Himachal Pradesh or some place like that. Maharashtra, I see. Oh, okay. Okay. So what is the name, or how should I save it? Class. There will be lot of chance under your name. Vijaya example 2. Okay. That's a good idea. Vijaya example March 6.jht. Okay. Okay. Oh, Lagna has Ketu. Okay. Guru Jandal. So, want to start a catering business. Oops. And. Good or not? Good, or will I burn my hands while cooking? Okay. Now the funny thing is, the question is relating to Dashamsa, and Dashamsa is right on the border. It looks like you rectified. Yes. It was probably below 12 degrees. You rectified it, you moved it up. For me, okay. Let's go to Dashamsa directly. Yeah, actually give us the events. We'll quickly verify your rectification and then move on. Okay, because you clearly rectified. It's right on the border of 12 degrees, 0 minute, 30 seconds. Okay. Got married 22nd? Yeah. Yeah. BS and MS in chemistry. Oops. In chemistry, okay. First job as a beautician in 1987. Okay. Chemist from June 1989 to okay. Never worked and now she wants to cook. Right. Okay. So this lady got married on 27th May 1989. She has BS and MS in chemistry, and her first job was as a beautician in 1987 as a beautician, and her second job was from June 1989 to July 1992 as a chemist, and she did not work after 1992, and after 15 years now she wants to get into catering business. So is the time right? Okay. So the Dashamsa Lagna is on the border, right on 2 seconds earlier it would have gone to Libra. So it is on the border of Libra and Scorpio. Which one makes more sense? Which Dasha did you use? So what is the logic that you use to rectify this? Did you use Vimshotri Dasha or Shatabdika? Vimshotri only, right? Right, Vimshotri. You are using Narayana Dasha of D10 also? Okay, let's just do Vimshotri first. In Vimshotri Dasha, 90, so she worked as a beautician in Venus Dasha. And what other Dasha? 89, right? Sorry, 87, before marriage. 87. So Saturn or Mercury, we don't know for sure. Do you know when she worked in the first half of 87 or second half? Okay, that's fine. When now she worked as a chemist for a reasonably long time, 89 to 92, right? So she started in Venus Dasha, Venus Mercury she started as a chemist. So Mercury Antardasha gave a career, that too as a chemist. And then Sandasha broke the career. In Sandasha, which Antardasha? 92 she stopped, right? All TN. July 92 she stopped. So what Antardasha was running then? Mars. So Sun Mars broke her career. You took Libra as Lagna? Yeah, that makes more sense now. Right. So the thing is, it may be a case of, because of Vishnabhyayana, the slight variation in the Chitrapakshayanamsa, we are getting different time. So what I will do is, I will move the time back by more than 2 seconds. I will just say, okay. So given time is 30, right? I will save that also. Okay, fine. Oops, isn't alt. Okay, so if we take Libra, then it makes more sense. Why? Why does it make more sense? In Venus Dasha, she started working. He is basically the Lagna Lord. So, career starting in that Dasha is reasonable. And Antardasha is Mercury. For me, yeah, he is in the Aru Lagna. So, Lagna Lord Dasha, Aru Lagna planets Antardasha. He is the fifth Lord. He is a fifth Lord, shows the Pura Punya coming in career as a job. Yeah. And in Sun Mars she stopped. Stopped working. For me, Sun is in Manakarka Sthana, he is in the 12th house. He is basically afflicting the 10th Lord. 10th Lord is also in the 12th house. It's not very powerful, it's not a very powerful Dashamsa, because the 10th Lord of the Dashamsa chart as well as 10th Lord of the Rashi chart are together in the 12th house. And 10th Lord of the Rashi chart, the Karyasha, is Manakarka Sthana in Dashamsa. So it's not that powerful. Only thing is that Mercury Rahu have a nice yoga in the 5th house. There is a nice Rajoga between them. But in general, this is not a very powerful chart. So in Sandasha, career basically having a break is possible. And why Mars Santadasha? Mars is 7th Lord in the 3rd house. If somebody is in service, is basically his marka for the service. So, and also taking Sun as Lagna, he is the 8th Lord, 3rd and 8th Lord of short break as well as long break. He is the 3rd and 8th Lord from Sun, the Dasha Lord. So, things make some sense, right? Okay. Similarly, talking about Mercury, taking Venus as Lagna Lord, from Venus, Mercury is the 10th Lord. So, being the 10th Lord, he can give a career during that period. So, so the thing is, for me, Venus can show chemicals as well as Venus can show beauty. Some people say Venus, some people say Mars. Yes. Mars is the real Karka. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Shall we see the T24 also? Venus can show
entertainment.
management, entertainment, and also things like for me, that also, and things relating to beauty, architecture, things relating to beauty, these are also shown by Venus. Management, project management, this kind of things are also shown by Venus. There are just too many: dance, singing, arts, poetry. Okay, so in the Siddhamsa, okay, assuming that the time is accurate, is there any influence of Mars on the 9th house and 2nd house? On the 9th house there is. On the 9th house there is, because he is aspecting the 9th house. Then how about the Masters? Does he have any influence on the 2nd house? Well, he is aspecting. For me, secondary Argala, okay, but he is aspecting the 2nd lord. Compared to the 2nd house, 2nd lord is very strong, exalted, Venus. And Venus is aspected by Mars. So there is a chance.
There is a connection between 9th and 2nd.
Yeah.
Then the person can also the same subject.
Right, there is a link also. There is a link. The link being the 9th lord is in the 2nd house. And moreover, the 9th and the 2nd lord are being aspected by the same planet.
They're exchanging.
And more importantly, Mars happens to be Lagna lord. So he's an important planet in the chart. So his aspects on those signs become more interesting. Any other questions? So the thing is, now coming to Dashamsa, coming back, so in Mars period, basically Mars is the 7th lord, so leaving the, and also he is 3rd and 8th lord from the Dasha lord, so in Sun Mars, leaving the career makes decent sense. Now, what does not make a lot of sense is, in Moon Dasha she didn't have any career. Moon is the 10th lord. So there is a potential for having, he is in the 10th house in Rashi chart, a benefic in the Rashi chart being in the 10th house. In Dashamsa he is the 10th lord. Only problem is he is with Basaka lord, he is in the 12th house. That's the only problem. Otherwise, and also even from Aru Lagna he is not so well placed. So otherwise, if she tried hard in Moon Dasha, actually she could have had a good career relating to Moon, relating to, for example, some nursing home career, or cooking also Moon. Cooking is also Moon. So that kind of things would have been possible. For cooking, actually Moon and Mars are the Karakas. Those are the two Karakas. Now the interesting thing is, forget Moon, that Dasha is over. Now Mars, his Dasha is coming now. He is the one who broke the service earlier. So can he give a business now? Absolutely. Absolutely. He is the 7th lord in the 3rd house, having a Rajyoga with Lagna lord. Venus and Mars have a Rajyoga. And earlier, because she was in service, he broke it, because he is a Marka for service. But if you are talking business, Mars is in business. He is Karaka, he is in the 3rd house. He is,
7th house.
pardon me?
Planets in 7th house.
There is no planet in 7th house, that's fine. But the thing is, the Lord of the 7th house, his Dasha is coming now, actually has come. So 7th house is naturally strong in this particular 7 years, in the coming 7 years. So it is auspicious. So Mars is 7th lord in the 3rd house with the Lagna lord, and with the Lagna lord, so he can show a new career. And he is in the 11th from Arudha Lagna. While Sun and Moon, the previous Dasha lords, were placed in the 8th from Arudha Lagna, showing they are not really promoting the image or anything. Now he is in the 11th from Arudha Lagna, so he can give tangible material gains, tangible gain of image as a career person, as a businesswoman, as a working woman. So my judgment is the Dasha is conducive, but it should be, this is not conducive to working at a restaurant and cooking, for example. The previous Dasha was conducive to that, but Moon is in Dusthana from Lagna and Aru Lagna, so probably it didn't happen. But if she wanted, she could have actually had a good career cooking in the previous Dasha, or at a nursing home in the previous Dasha. Okay. But now, in this period, she should just do, you said catering, right? Business, not really like working for somebody. Yeah, she should not work for anybody because that will be disastrous in this period. She should only have a business, and my judgment is she will succeed quite well. Venus is in Kuberamsa, and where is Mars? Mars is in Brahmansa. Okay. Yeah, that's good. So things are looking good. Right.
Oh, that's a risk.
Yeah, tell her to wear gloves when cooking. She won't burn her fingers. No, seriously, quite seriously. Mars is also the second lord. So, being the second lord, and Yetan is in the second house, and Yetan, A4, A11, Arul Lagna. These are the ones that are coming to the fore. And yeah, my feeling is she will be fine. She shouldn't have to worry.
Don't we see the D2?
Okay, we'll see that. We can definitely see that. Okay. Yeah. How is Mars Dasha? Is it, first of all, do you see some disaster in Mars Dasha? Not quite. He is the 8th lord also, but that can show risk taking and gambling. But the basic fact is he is Lagna lord, and Lagna is stronger than 8th house. In any case, he is Lagna lord. Forget everything. And he is in 9th house. Lagna lord in 9th house in a friendly house. I will say the bases are covered. And he is with Mercury. And Mercury Mars combination in financial matters is always good. And Mercury is the 6th lord of loans, debt, etc. So he can also give a debt in this period. So if she can get a loan for this, that will be a very good idea. Mercury is also Karaka for loans. So Mercury Mars combination, Lagna lord 6th lord combination in the 9th house shows she may get a loan, and A6 is also there, the tangible loan, and A11 is also there. So gaining,
Those will be there.
yeah, she will gain also. Mars will give a loan and also a big gain, tangible gain. So she should go for a loan, and I don't think she will basically burn her fingers. In my judgment, of course, you can never guarantee them. I won't guarantee her loan application, but I have strong confidence. Looking at the Dashamsa and Hora, I have a strong confidence that she will succeed in this cooking business. Have you actually eaten her food? Actually,
It's a family business.
uh-huh.
My mother in India,
She is a cook too. Yeah, get the recipes and cook them here.
She wants a bakery or Indian restaurant? This is
She wants to deliver Indian food or
Indian food? Oh, okay.
yeah. The thing is, apart from astrology, in my judgment, there is a big market out there right now. People were cooking for themselves now. For all parties, they are getting food from restaurants, etc. I mean, people here, when they organize any function, they just get food catered from a restaurant. Yesterday, a day before yesterday, I performed a Satyanarayana Vratam at somebody's house. Even for the puja, they just cater from a vegetarian restaurant. They just cook the main prasad. So that's the tendency. Any function, any puja, anything, people cater. And these days there is a clamoring for homemade kind of taste rather than restaurant taste. So if you specialize in because in restaurants they have specific items. If you are talking about South Indian, you have Uttappa, dosa, bisbele bhat, this, that. If you are talking about North India, you have aloo palak, aloo this, palak paneer, this, that. You have a particular set of items. But if you make homemade food, more specialized, specific cuisine kind of thing, Andhra food or Tamil food or Maharashtrian food, there is a very good opportunity. If only you know how to cook well and you have your logistics well worked out, logically also there is a good chance of success at this particular time in US. So, and astrologically also I think she has a very good chance. So I will advise her to go ahead. Are there any remedies that you, not specifically remedies, but any pujas you can suggest for me? Well, there will always be ups and downs. But right now the Antardasha is Mars. So, if she can start in Mars, I will say that is excellent. That is the best. But the thing is, Mars Rahu is not that bad also. Because Rahu is in the 5th house, he is having a nice Rajoga, he is in Arul Lagna, and from Mars he is in the 3rd house. He is a benefic in the Dashamsa, and he is in the 3rd from Mars in one house, and the Bhoga falls in the 7th house from Lagna. If you take the Bhoga of Rahu from Mars, it is in Aries. So Rahu is not bad also. So I think for the next few periods the things are fine. See, Mars Jupiter is fine, Mars Saturn probably fine, Mars Mercury excellent, because Mercury is 7th lord from Mars in the 3rd house with the 3rd lord, right? Bhoga in 7th house again, good for business. Mars Mercury is excellent. Mars Ketu, okay, not bad but not great. Mars Venus is probably good, but Mars Sun and Moon are a little, they cause concern, because Sun will give Moon results and Moon is 8th lord in the 10th house from Mars. Not good, not that good. So there can be some ups and downs in 2013 time frame, but until then I think she is fine. So this is a very important dasha for her. This is a very important dasha, Mars dasha. So are there any puja she can do before she starts the business or while she is in the business? Yeah, he is in 11th house in Navamsha also. He is fine. Are there any pujas you can suggest? Well, in general, Mars is the planet, strengthen him. So you were saying something, what? Okay, she can pray to Palan Devata and also the Dasha Lord Mars directly. So who is the Palan Devata? Who is the Atmakaraka, Amartyakaraka? Amartyakaraka is Saturn. Where is he in Navamsha? Amartyakaraka Saturn is in Taurus. The 6th from Taurus is? The 6th from Taurus is Libra. Venus is the Lord. So you can pray to Lakshmi. So Lakshmi, the Shamsa, Venus is Lagna Lord and he is with Mars. So pray to Lakshmi is one thing. And who else? Well, forget Narsimha, just actually that's a good idea. Mars can be Narsimha. So pray to Lakshmi Narsimha. That will take care of Mercury Rahu combination also. There is a Rajoga in Aquarius, right? So Lakshmi Narsimha will, Mercury Rahu combination can show Narsimha. Mercury is Vishnu Avatara. Rahu shows an Ugra form. So it can show Narsimha. So if you say Lakshmi Narsimha, it will take care of everything. So Lakshmi Narsimha.
Actually, this Dashamsha Lagna is Jupiter and Saturn. By looking at that, I thought it's more of a teacher. While deciding the generate 2, 6, 10 rule, if you go
Right, 2, 6 and 10.
by deciding it very
Yeah.
And in that case, the Lagna is having Jupiter. First I thought it was something very teacher.
Yeah.
It could be a teacher.
Yeah. The thing is, 6th house is not that strong, first of all. 6th house is very weak.
Lord is
6th is not that strong. And the thing is, when you are talking about Jupiterian careers, Jupiter as the 6th lord, you are talking about teacher, etc. 6th house doesn't really gel well there. And more importantly, the 10th lord of the Rashi chart is in Manakaraka Sthana. The 10th lord of the natal chart, Dashamsha, is also in 12th house. So Sun Moon Amavasya Yoga in the 12th house. That's basically what caused Amavasya on her career. Otherwise, the 12th house is the problem. Otherwise, she would have actually had a good, decent career. And like you said, Jupiterian career is also a possibility. But again, the Dashas never came. But now that Mars Dasha came and Mars is the 7th lord, there is a very good chance of success in business. And Venus, see, A7 and A3 are together, and the 2nd lord is in them. And Mars has a secondary Argala on them. So all indications are very positive for success in business. You should just jump ahead. Yeah? Rahu Jupiter? Yeah? Yeah. Both. Because the Guru Chandala occurs in 7th house, probably 7th house is even more important. Yeah, there is still 7 more years. Mars barely started. Yeah, but it is of some concern. Depending on the distance between them, Rahu Mars distance combination is, yeah, there is a big distance. It's not a big deal there. But otherwise, it would have been a concern. Any other comments? See, Sun and Saturn are quite close. It is actually bad. She has, yeah. Technically she has. But the thing is, Saturn and Sun, there is a lot of tension there. I wouldn't say it is not there, but the results may not be fully really seen. This Mahapurusha Yoga is also a leader, like Mars. This Yoga is a leader who is basically like a commander. And Sesya Yoga is like, a leader, a commander, an army commander. He is also going to fight. He has a gun with him, he goes, everybody follows him, he leads by example. And Sesya Mahapurusha Yoga, he basically gives one have lot of servants, makes one have lot of servants. So he commands a lot of people, but he is in a position of power and he is commanding others, but he is not leading by example. He is just enjoying. So that is the kind of result given by Sesya Mahapurusha Yoga. But like I said, the Saturn is not that strong. He is in Moltrikona. Yeah. Probably I wouldn't really expect that yoga to be very strong in this chart, like I said, because Sun and Saturn, there is a lot of tension. So Saturn, they are both really hammered. Sun, Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu, those two axes have lot of tension. They are neutrals. They are not really that much enemies. And moreover, Mercury is, apart from 8th Lord, he is the 11th Lord also. So Lagna Lord's conjunction with 11th Lord in the 5th house of Purvapunya can actually show, and his 8th Lord also, some sudden gains. And he is debilitated, right? But Mercury Mars combination tends to give good financial results. It's good for material plane. So there is a chance, based on that also, in Mars Dasha, Mercury Antardasha, or vice versa, there is a chance of financial rewards, becoming financially successful suddenly, unexpectedly. So there is a possibility. So actually, whenever Mars Dasha, Mercury Antardasha comes, that will be a good Antardasha for her, based on the Rashi chart. And I thought they were together in the Hora also, right? Yeah, they are. So financially, it will be an interesting time. It will be a good time. So tell her to pray to Lakshmi Narasimha and just go ahead with the business. And if possible, hurry up. Don't waste too much time counting Meenameshas. The time is very favorable. Just do it. Sun is the Hora Lord of the current year. If you make the 2007 annual chart, Sun is the Hora Lord. How are the planets? So what is the Dasha running right now? Jupiter Dasha is running right now. Jupiter is in the 8th house. He is the 5th Lord. He is the 2nd Lord. Okay. It is A10 and A5. So 8th Lord in the 8th house can show a risk taking basically. Can show loans, risk taking, etc. Yeah, Tithi Pravesh is not adding a lot of vigor to jumping into the business right now, unfortunately. It's not like 7th house is very strong and it's not really confirming what the natal chart and Jyothishya show. So there may be there is no momentum basically because of this. Had this also been indicative, there would have been a lot of momentum. Lagna Lord in 12th house. Maybe that is why she's not really so.
Why she's doubting about the possibility of failure?
Well, the Lagna shows basic confidence, right? If you look at the current year's annual chart, Lagna Lord is in Manakarka Sthana in the 12th house. It doesn't show a lot of confidence.
That's why the doubts come.
Yeah, I would believe that's why I think Sun is also the Hora Lord. He is the ruler of the year. So I think that is why there is no confidence. See, Lagna Lord Sun and the Hora Lord, the ruler of the year, is in Manakarka Sthana, 12th house. So Lagna is very important for the confidence. So that may be why there is some lacking in the confidence this year. Pardon me? In the annual chart. Yeah. That is because of the Ainamsya. If you use, and also the thing is, we don't know actually if this is accurate because we took 29 now. It may be 29, 30. Well, actually, still it will be this. Okay, forget it. But the thing is, if it is 28 instead of 29, then it will be Cancer. So we don't know for sure. We haven't rectified so narrowly. So Right. Had Lagna been Cancer, all these planets in the 12th, 9th house, and Sun being in Lagna should have been, and Rahu in the 3rd house, should have been more confident. How is the next year, 2008? How is the next year? Okay. The ruler of the year is Mars. He is the Lagna Lord in the 8th house of risk taking. The natural gambler is in the house of gambling. And there is a Rajoga. Lagna Lord and 5th Lord are together in the 8th house. And Lagna has Venus and Saturn. And Mercury, 8th Lord, is in 3rd house. Okay. This seems stronger. At least 10th Lord Sun is very strong in the 6th house. I don't know who it is. Okay. And basically 7th Lord is in Lagna. And 7th house has Katari from Sun, Jupiter and Moon. And it has Agra from Gajgesri Yoga. Not Gajgesri, Guru Mangal Yoga. So it's very, I think my feeling is, tell her to jump as soon as possible. That is, it is good if she can jump in Mars instead of waiting till Mars Rahu. But my feeling is, it may actually end up getting postponed and finally happen next year. That is my feeling. Because this year seems more conducive to business than the current year. Right? Because the 7th Lord and A7 Lord are together in Lagna. And and Mars, the Lagna Lord Mars, is basically in the 8th house. So my feeling is, it may, and he is aspecting the 3rd house. He is aspecting 8th Lord Mercury in the 3rd house. So my feeling is, it will end up happening next year. Any other questions? Any other comments? Any other, not on this chart, any other questions in general? Did you look at the Narayana Dasa actually? Just as a confirmation. Who is Narayana Dasa? Narayana Dasa. So she is in the middle of Cancer Dasa. Cancer is the 10th house. And the results of Cancer will be given in the last 1/3. The results of Moon will be given in the first 1/3, which is over. And now the results of aspects on Cancer. So Rahu and Mercury, 5th Lord and 9th Lord are aspecting Cancer. There is a Raj Yoga, like I said earlier, that is an important yoga in the chart. So the results of a nice Raj Yoga are occurring on Cancer, on the career. So actually career can take off during this time. So it is favorable. So that way also it is favorable. So she should go ahead. My advice is, she should really jump ahead. Time is very good. Right now Rahu's results. Good. Let her go ahead. Any other comments? Yeah, Lakshmi Narasimha will be very good. If you can try to. Yeah. What is?
There is actually two options.
Right.
What is Graha Rudra?
The Jewel Graharudha and Graharudha. Graharudha is basically based on Parashara's teaching, where if a planet wants two signs, we discussed Graharudha previously, right? You take the distance from Graha to the sign want and the same distance. So the reverse of Bhavarudha. The thing is, if a planet wants two houses, you take the stronger house. That is, then you get one Graharudha. In Jewel Graharudha, even if one house is weak, you find both the Arudhas. So, one second, let me open the Graharudha here. So, if you find Graha Arudha, you find Mercury's Arudha is, where is Mercury? Mercury is in, or let's take Jupiter as an example. Jupiter is in Taurus, and the stronger sign owned by Jupiter is Pisces, because it has two planets. So from Jupiter to Pisces is 11th house, from Pisces to 11th house Capricorn. So Capricorn has Jupiter's Graharudha. Then you see aspects of Jupiter, Mercury, the standard rules. You find the stronger of the two signs based on standard rules. And then if no rule basically results in gives a clear result, you basically keep on applying all the rules, and at the end find the Lord's. Actually, Here Lord's degrees won't result in a tiebreaker, because Lord is the same for the two planets houses, but previously the oddity rule will result in a tiebreaker. You remember there is one rule, an odd sign. If one sign is odd, one sign is even, and the Lord is an odd sign, then even sign is stronger. A sign whose Lord is in a sign of different oddity becomes stronger, because it covers variety. So it is guaranteed that both have the same Lord. So the Lord is in a sign of a particular oddity, and the two signs will have different oddities. Each planet owns two signs, but they both have a different oddity. So the one which is different from the oddity occupied by the sign, oddity of the sign occupied by the Lord, that becomes stronger. So by default you have a result always. That there the tie will end. That's a clear tiebreaker. In case all other things like exaltation, Jupiter, Mercury, Lord, all those rules don't result in a tiebreaker. So this Graha Arudha is basically what Parashara taught. He did not teach what to see from these. He only taught this is how you find the Arudha of Grahas, just like you find the Arudha of houses. So these must be the tangible manifestation of intelligences, tangible manifestations of planets. So if you take 7th Lord for example, you want the 7th Lord's Graharudha, maybe this is basically how you do the 7th. You see where the 7th Lord is, find the Graharudha. If you want to see Jupiter as Karaka of Guru and want to find his Arudha, see how he manifests in this particular case in a tangible way, you find Jupiter's Graharudha. So like that you find the Graharudhas, though Parashara did not give specific results, those are basically left for you to figure out. But what Sanjay ji does is to see the relationships between various people. He gave the example of, I think, some political leader, Nehru or somebody, Gandhi or Nehru, in this one of the books. So he takes both the signs. He takes, instead of one for Jupiter, he gives both based on Sagittarius and Pisces. If you take dual Graharudha, I'll show it to you quickly. So there is Ju 12 here, which is basically Jupiter's Graharudha based on 12th sign, Pisces. There is a Ju 9. If you take from Jupiter to Sagittarius, it is the 8th house. So taking 8th house from there, you get Cancer. So Cancer has Ju 9, which is Jupiter's Graharudha based on the 9th sign, based on Cancer, based on Sagittarius. So what he means by this is, if there is a Sagittarius Lagna person or a person with Sagittarius strong in your chart, he represents Ju 9 in your chart. See the influence of Ju 9 on Lagna. He is exalted in the 9th house, so he gives good guidance. So for this person, somebody with a strong Sagittarius or somebody with Sagittarius Lagna will be very good. He will give excellent guidance. He will be very fortunate for the person. On the other hand, somebody with Gemini Lagna, somebody with, let's say, Cancer Lagna or Cancer strong, he is basically Moon. You take Moon, right? Moon Graharudha is in the 8th house. 9th Lord in the 8th. That shows loss of fortune, and also he is in Manakarka Sthana. So he creates problems for the person. On the other hand, Gemini Lagna, if somebody has strong Gemini or Gemini Lagna, Mercury 3, the Graharudha of Mercury corresponding to Gemini, is in Gemini itself. In the 8th house, but 8th Lord in the 8th, that's Sarala Yoga. So it can actually be good. It can create some trouble, but at the same time, final success. So like that you see, VE2 is in 11th house. So Taurus people are good for her. They result in gains for her. Right? So you can find who are good advisors, who are good resources for her, who are good partners for her, who result in gains, who are enemies to her. For example, Libra Lagna people. If she gets together with them, VE7 is in 6th house. So it's like Venus in Manakarka Sthana. So if she takes them as partners, they will basically create trouble for her. They may even take her to litigation. So like this, to see people with dominant signs, what is the influence of such people on her? He uses dual Graharudha. This is a technique that Sanjay ji uses. This is kind of like if let's say there are two lots of a sign. Scorpio is the Lagna, like here. We say the Aruh Lagna is in this case Cancer, right? But Leo is also an Aruh Lagna because Ketu is also Lord of Lagna. So there are two Arudhas, but one of them dominates. So like that, there are two Graha Arudhas, but one of them will dominate. But if you are talking about a specific Rasi people, you have to take the Arudha corresponding to that Rasi only. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So we will end for today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.